probably the most excited for here, Fresh, because I got some good stuff on this one. Let's go all the way out to the Mountain West, Boise, Idaho. The Fresno State Bulldogs facing the Boise State Broncos here. This is an interesting one because Fresno State lost to Boise. They're 1-4 on the season. They pulled off 7 straight wins after that loss. I went back, Fresh, and I watched the consolidated game tape of that matchup. And this game was extremely close going into about the fourth quarter here. And then Boise State wound up pulling away in that game. One of the things that stood out to me, though, is Fresno State had 6 starters out for that matchup against Boise State in that game. One of the key ones, Jake Haener. Jake Haener suffered an injury at the beginning of the year. Logan Fife came in. Haener's back. Haener's playing. He's been exactly what we thought he had been. Guys, he didn't have a full season. If you're listening to this podcast, you want to go back and look at maybe what Haener did last year. We talked about Jake Haener to being one of the best quarterbacks in the country that you didn't hear about. Like I said earlier about Dalton Kincaid, Haener was less heralded last year, was throwing the ball all over the field, was one of the nation's leading passers. Him and Jordan Mims are a lethal attack in that backfield. You got that. Haener throwing the ball. He's got a great arm. Mims all over the place, averaging 4.9 yards a carry, 14 touchdowns in the year. Been one of their best rushers. Jalen Morano Copper, great wide receiver over there. He was a little banged up as well, but there's some more weapons as well. I'm interested about this Fresno State team because they, like I said, they really hung tough with the Broncos. Right now, that spread, Fresh, is a 3-point Boise State favorite. That's home field. That's home field. So Vegas, to me, is saying that on a neutral site, these teams are dead even. Also looking at it, over-under set at 54 points here. I don't know, Fresh. I got a lot of things. Taylon Green for Boise State. Love this kid as a player. He jumped right off the film when I was watching that compressed game here. He was really great at it. They have 2 really good running backs, though. Kalani and Genti, both of them, Genti being a freshman from Texas, both of those guys were running all through the Fresno State defense. So if they can't figure out a way to stop that ground attack for Boise State, and Green's able to do stuff with his legs as well, I don't know, man. This could get ugly quick, fast, and in a hurry, or it could be the most entertaining game of the weekend. What say you?
Well, this is the other matchup that I had picked in the preseason. I figured these two teams were on a collision course for in the championship game. They're going to meet in the regular season, see how that played out, and then navigate themselves back, and they both did. Boise State and Fresno State both had those rough starts. You talk about Haener being out for Fresno State at the beginning of the year. Boise State also had a very sluggish start to the season. Really took them a while to get their stride offensively and defensively, and they've kind of changed their motif. Usually they're much more of a crazy play, very dynamic offense, and a lot of window dressing and motion. This year, it's Helani from the backfield, more of a power running game, and then play good defense, and then hit the play action off of that. It's been a different kind of team, different kind of offense. They've really changed it around the past year to really be to use their skill players the best they possibly can. Helani's going to be the key. Ball control, keep Haener in that offense on the sideline, maintain possession, maintain pace. You don't want to get in a track meet, especially with that offense. You mentioned the 6 starters being at early in the year and then really getting steam as the season's progressed. You're playing a team that actually might be more healthy because they have rest. They haven't played as much. They have more game times. Not as much game time under their legs at the end of the season. So they're going to come out, guns blazing. They have nothing to lose. Nobody gives them a shot. This game's in Boise. You go 8-0. Have a great year in the regular season and just steamroll people, if you will. So this is going to be the focus point. Sad thing, though, is that Haener did have that rough, senior year, being out. What's his legacy at present? He came back, and he actually tried to transfer after last year's solid season, decided to come back and play for, Jeff Tedford and with the rest of the returning players on offense. And you get dinged up, you kind of miss out. People kind of start wondering. You've only thrown for 2,400 yards and 17 touchdowns, which being out for the first couple of games is actually a pretty good accomplishment. What is going to be the legacy, though, of winning that conference title? You have a chance right in front of you. Where's that resurgence going to come from? You're both scoring 30 points a game, but your defense has got to help you out in this football game. They are giving up well over 20. You're going against a Boise State team's giving up 17 points a game. your defense has got to find some stops. They've got to be in that front seven, lock down the A gap, lock down the B gap, run, pursue, make tackles. You cannot allow broken tackles. You cannot allow, excessive plays to continue. You've got to shut it down at the point of contact, get the football back to Hayner in that offense. Um, it's a crapshoot. Like you mentioned, if it's a neutral field, it'd be a push. I picked Fresno State to win the league back in August, and I'm going to stick with it. Fresno State Bulldogs go on the road, get the Mountain West title. Jake Hayner on to bigger and better things, and really has a big ball game and helps push him toward NFL draft stock up in the right direction.
Damn it, Fresh. I God, I got to really work on my Hank Hill impersonation here and just be like, damn it, Bobby. All right, Fresh, you're stealing my picks here. I was so excited because I did all this research on this game, and I actually went further than I normally do on a game. I even found this David Perales here, 10.5 sacks, has got an interception on your senior defensive end. Kid's a beast. And the other big thing I looked at this here, Fresh, Fresno. I was a little I went back and I looked at their last game as well. I looked at how they played Wyoming. Wyoming is a pretty darn good football team over there in the Mountain West, and they struggled to move the football against the Cowboys. So that kind of gave me a sense of pause there for a second. Boise State, electric offense. Green's going to be a beast. I really like him. I think that Boise State's going to be going on to bigger and better things. But I like Fresno State in this game as well here. I really sitting there going, I think people are sleeping on the Bulldogs there, and I think they're going to come back, and everyone's going to go on Sunday and be like, wow, did you see that Fresno Boise game? I think it's going to be one of the best games of the weekend.
That Wyoming comparison is a pretty good one. If you look at the way Fresno State slaughtered them the last week of the season, Boise went to Wyoming, went to Laramie. It was a 2017 football game. They kind of struggled their way through it and really didn't get a good pace until the very end of the game when they were finally able to put it away. It's a great comparison, a great matchup if you're looking for a common opponent.